Hello you guys and welcome to my channel. I'm so excited to have you here. So in today's video, we are going to be doing our monthly MLM Horror Stories series. If you would like to send me your MLM Horror Stories, I will leave my email down below. It should be deannamims.horrorstories@gmail.com if you want to send me yours. So it is storming today. So that's why if you hear lightning, thunder, it is so bad. There's no light outside. It looks like nighttime out there. So with that being said, let's get right into it. Ooh, the first one is a long one and it is an Amway horror story. So let me get comfy. I always put my leg up when I want to be really comfy. I don't know why that's been a position of comfort for my whole life. I've been sitting like this and my mom used to always yell at me, Deanna, get your leg off the table or off the chair, because we'd be at dinner and I'd accidentally put it up without noticing. Anyways, that has nothing to do with MLM Horror Stories. So let's get into it. The first one says, I just watched your video on YouTube. I'm happy to see that you're sharing experiences, and I wish more than anything that I had seen your videos 8 months ago. I was told not to do my own research because I should trust my upline. I was at a very vulnerable time in my life when an Amway rep got me into the business. I was teaching in China, my dream job of teaching English in foreign countries, when the pandemic hit, and I was sent back to America. I had to leave my fiance, who I will be marrying this summer, and it's been very hard on me to leave him. My sponsor, who I will call Frank, so her upline, since I had been abroad for so long, it felt like I had to start all over again. I enrolled into college full-time to get my sales certification and a bachelor's in marketing while working as a personal trainer part-time. It was hard for me to go back to college and to be separated from my fiance along with all of my friends in China. I was approached by Frank, who complimented my work ethic. He asked me if I'd like to talk over coffee about some amazing people he got connected to. I agreed and honestly looked forward to the meeting and told my fiance all about it. Frank seemed like a great guy, but at the meeting I saw a red flag, but I ignored it. Frank said that he had enjoyed my company so much that it felt like we had known each other forever and that I was like a little sister. Okay. That made me uncomfortable because I didn't feel the same. He said that he wanted to meet again. We continued these meetings and eventually I found out that he was with Amway, another red flag which I had ignored. I was in Amway for 8 months and it was the worst 8 months of my entire life. Frank was sexist and narcissistic. I wish I never met him. He called me immature and overly emotional on a regular basis. Even though I went to college in South Korea and was a respected teacher in China, I apparently didn't understand the world. I don't know why I let him convince me to get into the business. I saved up so much money while I was in China. I have passive income, and since the cost of living is really low in China, anything I made went to my savings. I already was on the path to retire early, which is something that is preached in the Amway business. Not only were there unnecessary amounts of expensive meetings that I had to attend, but I wasn't allowed to go to some of the meetings that I qualified for just because it was men only. Then the meeting that I couldn't go to because I wasn't a male were top secret. What the F were they doing? That was so secret. Frank tried to get me to drop out of college, saying that I wouldn't need it now that I had the business. When I said that I was tired because I was only getting 4 hours of sleep from attending so many night owls and I had to train in the morning, I was told that it was all in my head. He would say, it's not the quantity of sleep, it's quality. As if there aren't millions of studies out there that show that you need 7 to 8 hours of sleep. Even though I'm a really studious student, Frank would make me feel dumb and called me immature all of the time. He would remind me that I'm 6 years younger than him, I'm 21, and that he was also a great student when he went to college. He was so condescending to me when I wouldn't get my 3 other siblings into the business. In my heart, I knew it was a scam. He called me weak and judgmental when I wouldn't get classmates into the business. I'm pretty sure that they would thank me if they knew that I made a conscious decision not to get them into the business because I didn't want them to go through the same pain. Frank also got pissed at me one time when I refused to take out student loans just to pay for the business because my college is paid off. Yeah, student loans aren't for you to take out a loan for other things. That doesn't make sense. You shouldn't be taking out loans for a multi-level marketing company at all. Oh, did y'all see the lightning? Did it make a little light? It is so bad out there. But you shouldn't be taking out student loans and using it for a business no matter how much someone may tell you that you should do that. Please do not do that. Trigger warning, by the way, before I read this. So skip through a little bit if you don't want to hear about essay. So she said, on more than one occasion, Frank touched me inappropriately and on even more occasions asked me inappropriate questions. For example, I would never answer his questions of, are you a virgin? One time he even stopped on the side of the interstate and asked me the question. I never answered his question and I'm glad I didn't. Thinking back, I was in such a dangerous position. I agree. After a while, my fiance noticed that my mood had changed and I was always depressed. He knew I had started this business, but I never told him about the sexism and how I was being controlled. Once I opened up to him, he told me to get out of the business. I wish it didn't take so long for me to get out. Frank told me I could quit whenever. But it's been 3 weeks now and I'm still receiving texts from Frank. He sends texts that say, quote, I guess you really didn't care about your fiance and his future and you would have been successful if you only had listened and trusted me. When you're more mature, you will understand that you made the wrong choice. And even I thought you made decisions based on logic, but you're making a decision based on your emotions, unquote. I like to add that Frank has been in the business for 2 years and is making about $800 a month, while my passive income that I make is almost triple that, and that is profit. A lot of Frank's income from Amway goes right back into paying for hotels and meetings. I'm not bragging, and to some people, that's not even a lot of money. I'm just saying that Frank likes to think that I didn't know what I'm doing, but I never told him how much I was making on other investments. Amway is not passive income like it was pitched to me. I know what passive income is. Frank doesn't. I'm so sorry that that was your experience, and thank you for touching on the topics that you did. I feel like they're really important, and something that you did say about passive income is actually something that we talked about on my most recent MLM fails video, where a lot of the top leaders talk about passive income. Oh, I don't even have to work if I don't want to work. I can take a break and I have passive income. But most of the time when MLM reps talk passive income, or I should say when top reps talk about passive income, they're mostly talking about the income that they are earning on their downline and the money that they are earning because their downline is either recruiting or buying so much products that they're earning bonuses off of those purchases and off of those recruits that their downline is recruiting. And because of that, they're automatically earning money that they didn't have to do anything for. They just had to recruit someone, one time, like recruit someone into the MLM and convince them that they need to work really hard and that they can get where you are at if they just work harder and if they spend more time on it and they focus on it more. All of those things that, top reps tell their teams. And that will be most of the time the passive income that they're talking about. So I wouldn't say that that's passive income. I would just say that that's you earning money off of your downline's work and that you're earning money off of your recruits. And that could go away any day. It's not that that is just passive income. It's going to live on. You don't have to do much work or anything like that. You're actually going to have to continue working because a lot of the times these top reps, what if people in their downline that were recruiting a lot of people end up quitting or canceling their accounts, or they stop recruiting and they stop buying products? That income is now gone, or that money that you were making off that person is completely gone, and you have to start from scratch. You never end up getting off of that hamster wheel of recruitment and that hamster wheel of continuously having to do team calls for your downline and stuff so that you can continue to motivate and manipulate. So that's my opinion on that when it comes to top reps that are making all of that money. So a lot of the times when they're talking passive income, that's what they're talking about, pretty much the money that they are earning from their downline. So the next story that we are going to read is actually titled Light Brushes and 2 Automatic Signups. I wonder what that fully means, but okay. This says, hello, Deanna. I hope you're doing well. My name is D. They said, I have been stalling with my horror story submission, but here goes nothing. This may or may not be long, and I would like to apologize in advance for story 2 for the inconsistency. Story 1. One of my extended family on my late father's side invites us to her house, which is strange because myself and her children are grown up and we're just going on about our lives and don't get to see each other that often. Eventually, my mom and I agree because it's always nice to visit family, and apart from being at my aunt's house, it's my second favorite place to be. Lo and behold, it's a forever living party. Now, keep in mind, I haven't heard of an MLM at this point in my life, but thankfully my mom and I didn't sign up for it with valid reasons, aka high praise of uplines, financial claims, claims of financial freedom, etc. To make a point, a lot of nonsense was skewed that day, and just for kicks, everyone knows and hates forever living products in my area. Story 2. This story involves a lot of inconsistencies, so I apologize on that one. Our neighbors, let's just call them Joe and Julie, were the elders in our complex, and everyone knew them because Joe was the caretaker. He made sure everything was running smoothly. One day, they told us about a couple they had met and wanted us to meet, so they set something up at our house. My mom agreed, but I was reluctant on anyone coming to the house, which is probably why I can't recall the name of the MLM. I'm sure you already know what's coming next. If you guessed the same pitch as story 1, you're wrong. These two seemed like they were high up in their company, bragging about how many people they have from all around the world and never having to worry about money because they get paid every week. Yuck. Just thinking about it makes me sick. Cue the moment of weakness. Honestly, not my proudest moment. One of my best friends got roped into an MLM, the one and only Amway. She's well-spoken and knows how to articulate herself, so I'm not surprised that I also signed up. Jill, that's what we'll call her, would message me constantly about their meetings that were being held at her place, but I never attended. She went from proclaiming how amazing the Amway products were to dead silent. I honestly thought she would be a one and done, but to my shock and horror, Jill then signed up for New Skin, and I signed up as well to support her. Let's just say I'm absolutely horrible at being subtle and low-key when it comes to posting MLM products. It wasn't a complete horrible experience, and she was a great leader, but her upline, holy crap. Katie is a demon with a stick up her, you know what? Not only was she out to get me, but she's still in Jill's life, and she's too nice to see Katie for who she really is. I guess this brings me to asking you what I should do about Katie. Please help. Story 5. I'll try and keep this one short. I encountered an MLM called I don't know how to pronounce this one, Junis, on Instagram through one of their leaders, and I was on the verge of signing up until I find out the price of one of their packages. Who on earth has $201 lying around? How crazy is that? It gets worse. That said leader said the amount is nothing compared to what I will make back. I hope you know I still haven't signed up officially, but I am still on the WhatsApp. Interesting. I've encountered a lot of other MLMs like Tupperware, Avon, and Herbalife, but nothing comes close to these 5. So with the whole Katie thing, sometimes if your friend is in an MLM, there's not much you can really do but support them outside of the MLM. I know for some people they have lost friendships because they have brought up the fact that, hey, here's the, statistics on MLMs, here's why they're bad, here's how your upline's manipulating you. Like, they have laid these things out, and these individuals in the MLM have kicked their friends out of their life. So there is a chance of losing friendships and stuff like that. So I really feel like for each person, when it comes to your friend and expressing how you feel with that MLM to them, it really depends on like the type of relationship you have with someone and if you can really express your thought to that individual. So yeah, I feel like it just depends. With some people, you can ask questions. You could be like, hey, have you seen the stats? Have you seen income disclosure statements or whatever? And whatever your friend states, you can kind of point them in the right direction when it comes to income disclosure statements or stats on MLMs, or kind of having a conversation about that. But you really have to gauge like your own relationship with somebody and see if that's possible. Like, if you bring something up, is your friend the type of person who may not be able to take that well? Because we know in multi-level marketing companies, a lot of individuals end up extremely manipulated into an MLM, and sometimes it can be really hard for them to see anything else besides positive thinking and stuff like that. I say to probably on the safe side, just support your friend elsewhere. Even though you don't want to support the MLM itself, you can still support this person, and hopefully one day she will be open to looking at other things on multiple marketing companies that you may want to show her. But it really depends on the relationship you have. So let's read the next MLM horror story. This one says, hi there, I was just watching your videos. I was a Beachbody coach back in 2016 to about 2017, so about a year as a coach. But this is something that bothered me for years. Sorry if this is long or scrambled. I'm not even sure why I'm emailing you. I mean, maybe you just want to talk about your horror story. They said, so I made a huge cross-country move, but had enough savings that would get me through a few months until I found a decent job. After a couple of months with no luck on good-paying jobs, I was struggling. I threw away a lot of my savings because I was constantly being pestered from my upline about staying active. Not a surprise, right? Until finally, I was basically like, dude, I am broke. I don't have the money to keep my account active at the time. Like, I barely buy food right now. I'm not sure what you want me to do. Well, my upline responded and said, oh, well, of course I want you to be able to get food. And then just a couple of weeks later, I was taken out of our team page with absolutely no warning, explanation, nothing. At that point, I was so done, but I was like, wow, that was the biggest slap in the face. The sense of community suddenly felt like a scam. Like I was struggling hard and then all of a sudden ripped from the team I thought had my back. I feel like this is what so many people deal with. Lots of uplines shower you with all this support and love when you are new and fresh. They want you to feel like you're so important. Then one thing takes them away from their goal and they cut you out so fast, it's horrible. There are so many other bits and pieces I can remember from my time as a Beachbody coach, but I've repressed so many. Either way, thanks for your videos. I wish I would have had your videos back then, even though, let's be real, I probably wouldn't have listened because I was sucked into their BS, haha. So this definitely happens to a lot of people in multi-level marketing companies, and it's really what's taught from the top down. So they're always teaching like, oh, I hate this quote, like just looking back at it, but with Beachbody specifically, they'll be like, oh, work with the working. If they're not working, then they shouldn't get your time. So they'll use that quote of, oh, I'm going to work with the working, and they're going to work with people that they see with their eyes is doing the most work. And then those are the people they give their time to and they add in group chats and team chats. It's just because I feel like a lot of the times that's what is taught in Beachbody, and it's really messed up because they constantly are promoting on social media that they're all about community because they're told to post on social media about that. And then on the back end, they're also being told, oh, work with the working. Don't put time into those that don't put time into you or put time into their business. And you'll end up getting kicked out of things or kind of feeling left out after a while of being in the MLM because the uplines or people who are in the MLM are taught to do that. They're taught to only put time into those that are working, and it's really crappy, but that is definitely something that is taught in Beachbody. And if you've ever experienced that, if you're watching this, I would love to know in the comments below. Okay, so this next story has a lot. It has MLM Horror Stories on Cutco, Plexus, Lip Sense, and LuLaRoe. So they said, hi Deanna, I love your channel. It is so great to listen to while I do paperwork for my job. For the record, I work from home, make good money, and am able to support myself, my husband, and 2 kiddos without an MLM. I really wish that I had access to information such as that you present on your channel while I was young and dumb and perfect prey for MLMs. This is rather a long story and not as horrible as some, but feel free to read and keep me anonymous. My first ever experience with an MLM was 2012 with Cutco. I was 23 and knew absolutely nothing about MLMs and was going to night school for my master's in counseling. I was going through a rough patch in my life, having just gone through a messy breakup, and less than a month later, my full-time job as a lab tech was eliminated due to the lack of funding. I found myself needing a job quickly, but finding a job that would accommodate my school and internship schedule was rather challenging. Long story short, I saw an advertisement for a sales position paying $14 an hour, selling cutlery and kitchenware, posted in the student lab on my school. It had an email address and a phone number and sounded perfect for me at the time. Looking back, that was the only description, and the name of the company was not mentioned anywhere on the flyer. I was not planning to have it be a career and honestly did not care much about the details of the job and company. I sent in an email and was called for an interview the next day. When I pulled up, the place was in a rundown strip mall with no identification of the company on the suite where the interview was held. There was myself and 3 other applicants, and we were informed that we'd be interviewed as a group. I thought, fair enough, I'd had group interviews before. We were also told that only one of us will be given the job by the end of the interview. The interviewer continued to give us a presentation of the products and telling us the history of the company, including interviews with Cutco customers who had Cutco knives that had purchased back in the 1960s. Then we were shown the knives themselves and the magical scissors that could cut through a penny. My naive self thought the products were pretty cool. We were told that if hired, we would be demonstrating the product and answering questions about it to potential customers. At the end of the night, I was then offered the job, and I was very relieved, still thinking I would be working for $14 an hour and making my own schedule. That weekend, I was called to go to a training, unpaid, that would prepare me for going out in the field. There, I was sad to learn that I would only make $14 a presentation plus commissions, but not $14 an hour. I also found out that I would have to bring my own customers from my hot and warm markets and that the products were very expensive. So if you don't know what like a hot or warm market is, that's pretty much the opposite of cold messaging or a cold market. So cold messaging would be messaging a random person that you don't know. So having like a warm or hot market would be like your friends and your family, people close to you that you already know that you can sell to. So she said, to be fair, I do like Cutco knives and still have the one I won during my time with this MLM, but really wish they could be sold any other way than through an MLM. Most of my friends were fellow 20-something-year-old college grad students or freshly graduated. All of my immediate family lives in another country. Needless to say, my hot and warm market were not at all Cutco's target population. Still, I was desperate for a job and decided to give it a go. I was able to convince some friends and some professors to sit through my presentations and surprisingly actually sell some knives. My hot market ran out fast, and I realized just how difficult it would be to make enough money through this MLM. While some of my friends and professors made pity purchases to help me out, most did not wish to give me contact information for their family or friends. Other friends plain out told me that they could not afford a $40 knife, and most of my presentations resulted in no sales. I also felt extremely awkward providing Cutco with my friends and family members' contact info. Not to mention, I frequently was asked to drive to the office for a power hour, which was unpaid, and call all the people in our contact list and any referrals we received from our sales. I am not outgoing by any means, and even going to my close friends and professors were awkward. I started to seriously question whether or not I would be able to do this job, and if it was worth the time/gas to go to people's homes for presentations. I went inactive from Cutco and ended up working several crappy part-time jobs for my last 4 semesters of grad school, but at least I was paid for every hour I worked at those jobs. Fast forward a year and a half from my Cutco run-in, I started spending time with a fellow young therapist who was a few years ahead of me professionally. I met her my last year of an internship, and after I graduated, she invited me out to dinner a few times. My first therapist job was horrible, and while not an MLM, almost as predatory, but that's another story for another day. It's common to struggle with money as a newly graduated therapist until you get your license, but I was surprised to see that my friend drove a luxury car and offered to pay for my dinner. I shared some of my money troubles with her. I can't even remember how, but conversation eventually led to her being a Plexus ambassador, and how Plexus healed her after a run-in with Lyme disease and its consequences. Over the next few months, she slowly pitched Plexus to me and another mutual girlfriend. I was sold on the health side of it, as I was really struggling with weight gain and was undiagnosed with PCOS, which is a hormone disorder that leads to fertility problems and insulin resistance. I was dating my now husband by this point, and we knew we wanted to start a family as soon as we were married, and I was worried about my ability to get pregnant. I was trying to eat healthier and work out, but that was very difficult as my crappy job required me to drive for nearly 4 hours a day to do in-home family therapy. So having a drink that could do what my friend claimed Plexus could do sounded very appealing. I did buy it for a few months, but it was extremely expensive. My friend started trying to recruit me to be on her team and how easy it was to make money selling Plexus. I was tempted, but knew how bad I was at sales from my experience with Cutco, so I declined. While I was buying from her, she asked me to take a before and after picture to document my weight loss and asked me in a few weeks how much weight I had lost. I admitted that I was disappointed to not have lost any weight. At the time, she recommended more very expensive Plexus products to help with my weight loss. I informed her that I really couldn't afford it and stopped purchasing Plexus altogether. She was surprisingly cool with it, but continued to send me flyers about herself and her success in efforts to help/recruit me. A few years later, my husband and I were married. I moved in with him to his hometown and became very close to my mother-in-law. After years of trying, I became pregnant with my daughter and was looking for some comfy pregnancy clothes. My mother-in-law always wanted a daughter and still loves buying me things. She got me a few very colorful soft leggings and long shirts from LuLaRoe. Call me dorky, but I kind of like some of their designs, and it was perfect for me to wear under pregnancy dresses. My area must have been concentrated with LuLaRoe rep because there was literally a LuLaRoe stand anytime there was any sort of festival. And the clothes were always on sale for a buy 2 for $5, get 1 free. Knowing what I know now about MLMs and LuLaRoe, these poor reps probably had a bunch of inventory to get rid of and were trying to get at least some of their money back. I was still so shocked to learn that LuLaRoe was an MLM. I still have my LuLaRoe clothes, but I am so disappointed that this company turned out to be a scam that left many women in debt. The area where I live is much like an MLM haven, and my mother-in-law, the perfect customer for MLMs, also purchases lip scents for me and her coworker at a local pharmacy where they are both pharmacy techs. She gave it to me when I was going back to work after having my daughter and just wanted to look good. I like lip gloss, but normally I don't wear it because I don't have the time to reapply it all day, girl. I feel that. I like lip scents and the fact that it really stayed on all day, but for my mother-in-law, it led to her lips cracking and face breaking out. My mother-in-law also told me that her coworker offered her a position selling lip scents. Thankfully, she declined. Having said all of this, I am so glad that I came across your and other anti-MLM channels. I know about these predatory companies that prey on the most vulnerable, young, and impressionable. I feel that being educated about MLMs will help me protect my son and daughter when they are in high school and starting to look for part-time work. Thankfully, I never lost too much money to the point where I couldn't get out. Thank you for all that you do. You're saving lives. So thank you for sharing that. That was a lot of stories. Like, you have had a lot of experience with multi-level marketing companies, but I do agree that like knowing about multi-level marketing companies and being able to kind of like teach that to either high schoolers or people in college is so important, because when you're that young, you're very impressionable and you're a very vulnerable group of individuals because you're either going to college or taking out student loans or looking for your first entry-level job or living at home, see other people on social media making all this money and having apartments and moving out of their families' house and like all of these things, to where it can seem really easy to want to do that without actually knowing the background on like what multi-level marketing companies are. And with that being said though, that's why I'm very excited for working with the college that I'm going to be working with. I have announced that recently that a college did reach out to me to do an in-person event, but that didn't happen because COVID and all of that crazy stuff and me just starting a full-time job. So they asked me if I could make a YouTube video or just a video in general that really encompasses everything about multi-level marketing companies and the negative effects multi-level marketing companies have on college students, and talking about how they recruit people, what are some warning signs, like all of those things to really help people who may be in college and are looking for jobs or finishing their degree or are aged, 18 to 21 and may not really know what they want to do with their lives and are trying to find themselves. So I'm very excited for that video. I know on Monday that I announced I probably won't upload on Monday, like this upcoming Monday, because of this video. So all week this week, I am really going to be focusing on this video for the college. I have to get them the video by May 4th, like really early in the morning. So I have to finish it by nighttime, May 3rd. I believe that's the date. Let me see. Is May 4th the Wednesday? Yes. So Wednesday, I have to get them this video, and then I will be doing some edits to it so I can upload it as an actual YouTube video next Friday. So I am very excited for you guys to see that video. So be on the lookout. So if I don't upload on Monday, that is because I'm really focusing on this video for the college that will be going up on next Friday. So it's crazy that you say, knowing what you know about MLMs now, the person who sent this, that you can now like teach it to your son and daughter when they become, in high school or looking for their first jobs and stuff like that, because I think it's so important to be able to teach them these things. So with that being said, I hope that you guys enjoyed today's video. Don't forget to leave a like and a comment and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and I will see you guys in the next video. Where'd it go? So she said one more, or they're mostly talk about things like that, and call all the people in our contact list and any referrals or thankfully she declined. Thankfully, she declined. That's exactly why. No. Oh my gosh, I'm also trying to look at my sock. Oh, I did rip a hole in it. Well, gotta go change my socks.